solids is what we're studying today. Composite solids are objects that are composed of multiple three-dimensional solids. So no longer do we just have a single cone, a single cylinder, a single sphere. But there's going to be composite solids where they're made up of multiple shapes. So to find the volume, decompose or break down the solids into objects you know how to find their volumes. So it says find the volume of the solid, round to the nearest tenth. In that first shape, what shapes do you see? A cylinder and a cone. A cylinder and a cone. Now, I can find the volume of the cylinder and I can find the volume of the cone. For the shape together, are we putting them together, like adding them to make a bigger object? Or do we need to subtract to make some of our volume go away? Say it again. Adding. This is a bigger object than if I just gave you the cylinder, agreed? Or if I just gave you the cone. We're putting them together, so we're going to add their volumes together. Here's your formulas. What's the formula for the volume of a cylinder? Pi radius squared height. On my cylinder, what is my radius? 4. Very good. You have to take 8 and divide it in half because that line goes all the way across. And your height is 4. Take your calculator. Make your calculation. Round to the nearest tenth. Rounded to the nearest tenth, what'd you get? 201.1. Anybody else? 201.1? Yes? Okay. What is the volume formula for a cone? Very good. On our cone, what's my radius? 4, still 4. What's my height? 5. And then we got to divide by 3. So take your calculator. Find me the volume of the cone. Bless you. Rounded to the nearest tenth, what'd you get? 83.8. So when I take 201.1 plus 83.8, I get 280. What'd you say? 4 point. I just didn't hear you. 9. And what would my label be? Feet cubed. Big mistake yesterday. People will say, but Ms. Hoff, in a cylinder and a cone, you only did radius squared. Why is my label cubed? Because it's radius squared and height. That's 3 dimensions. It doesn't matter what your shape is. When you're finding the volume, you take into account all 3 dimensions. It's always going to be inches cubed, inches or feet cubed, meters cubed, yards cubed. Okay. Second one, Tanya used cube-shaped beads to make jewelry. Each bead has a circular, that should say, hole through the middle. Find the volume of one bead, round to the nearest tenth. What's the big shape that you notice right away? Okay, think less specific. You are correct, that's a cube, but we really call it a rectangular prism, aka a box, right? How do I find the volume of a rectangular prism? Length times width times height. Now, because it's a cube, what do you know about the length, the width, and the height? They're all going to be the same. In this case, it is 12. So 12 times 12 times 12 is 1,728. Okay, what other shape is in there? A cylinder. Now here comes that crazy question Ms. Hoff asked. Are our volumes of the rectangular prism and cylinder going to be put together to create a larger volume, or are we going to subtract them because we're taking away material? Subtract. They drilled a hole through the middle of that. So actually the volume is going to decrease. So we are going to subtract that cylinder. Remind me again, formula for a cylinder? Very good. And on that cylinder, if the 2 is a line all the way across, what's my radius? 1. What's my height? 12. Take a calculator. Find me the volume of that cylinder rounded to the nearest tenth. What'd you get? 37.7. So if I take 1728 minus 37.7, I get 0.3. Anybody else? 1,690.3. What? It should be 0.3. You subtract them. Millimeters cubed. Millimeters cubed. Retype your subtraction in there. Again, if you don't know these formulas, this is really hard, agreed? But if you're filling in numbers, not so bad. Try this one on your own. Find the total amount of metal used to make the trophy by finding its volume. Did you figure it out? Okay. Round to the nearest tenth. On your own, break this down. What 2 shapes do you see, and how are you going to find its volume? And then we'll go over it together. I got 155.5. What would my label be? Inches cubed. Inches cubed. If I had to throw an answer out there, I would say the sphere formula was the one that was most commonly missed on the test, which also impacted the hemisphere. Okay, remember, all the craziness goes together. The weird 4 and the radius cubed are both in the same formula. The other ones are pretty simple and very similar to one another. How about this bottom one? What shapes do I have here? I have a hemisphere and a cone. Am I adding their volumes together, or am I going to end up subtracting them? Adding them. Very good. All right. Find me the volume of that composite solid. So remember, with your hemisphere, you got to find your sphere, but then you got to divide that in half. Don't forget that dividing by 2. So I got 89.8 for the hemisphere and 64.1 for the cone. Anybody else? Yes? Total of 153.9? Yes? Centimeters cubed. Truthfully, this is an extension. You're not really learning anything new, agreed? You're still working with volumes. We just have to know, do we add them together? Do we just subtract them? And being able to identify those shapes. On my lesson plans, I will open them up for you. There is a Google form for you to be able to check your work as you go. There's a couple on here that are kind of hard to see if they're the radius or if they're the diameter. So I'm going to hand this out, and then we're going to go over those together just so you know, does that line go all the way across or only part way through this worksheet here? Okay, however you need to draw it. Number 1, 12 is all the way across. On number 2, 4 is the center to the edge. On number 3, 8 is all the way across. On number 4, 11 is all the way across. On number 5, from the center to that first mark is 5. And then from that first mark to the second mark is another 5. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. 6 across is 2.5. On this one, to the inside is 2. To the outside edge is 2.7. Eight is all the way across. And number 9, 3 is center to the edge. Jacob, did you not get one? No. Okay. As you're working, please come bug me, ask questions. Go find that form and fill it out. Okay, as you go.
Oh, yeah, but
No worries. Okay.
wait, what was number 2?
Number 2 and 3, is that what you said?
Yeah.
2, 4 goes just halfway, and 3, 8 goes all the way across. Did you get the rest of them? 11, that one goes all the way across, your 11 goes all the way across. Okay. Yep, you know that one. Okay, and then number 6, the 2.5 goes all the way across. And on this one, the 8 goes all the way across. So